Chapter 11 of The Outsiders. I had to stay in bed a whole week after that, and that bugged me. I'm not the kind of kid that can lie around looking at the ceiling all the time. I read most of the time and I drew pictures. One day I started flipping through one of Soda's old yearbooks and came across a picture that seemed vaguely familiar. Not even when I read the name Robert Sheldon did it hit me who it was. And then I finally realized it was Bob. I took a real good look at it. The picture didn't look a whole lot like the Bob I remembered, but nobody ever looks a whole lot like the yearbook picture anyway. He was a sophomore that year, and that would make him 18 when he died. Yeah, he was good looking even then, with a grin that reminded me of Soda's, and kind of a reckless grin. He had been a handsome, black-haired kid with dark eyes, maybe brown like Soda's, maybe blue-haired like Johnny Boy's. Maybe he'd had black eyes like Johnny. I'd never given Job much thought. I hadn't had time to think, but that day I wondered about him. What was he like? I knew he'd like to pick fights. He had the usual social belief that living on the west side made you Mr. Super Tough. You looked good in dark wine-colored sweatshirts and proud. Sure, he was proud of those rings of his. But what about Bob Sheldon and Sherry Valance? What about the one that she knew? She was a smart girl, and she didn't like him because he was good-looking. She said he was sweet and friendly. He stood out from a crowd, that's what she said. A real person, the best buddy a guy could ever ask for. Kept trying to make somebody stop him. Randy had told me that once. Did he have a kid brother who idolized him? Maybe Bob had a big brother who kept bugging him not to be so wild. Maybe his parents let him run wild because they loved him too much or too little. God, his parents must hate us now. I hope that they hate us. They weren't full of that pity the victims of the environment junk with the social workers kept handing Curly Shepherd every time he got sent to reform school. I'd never had anybody's hate that I'd rather have their hate than their pity. But then, maybe they understood like Cherry Valance. I looked at Bob's picture, and I could begin to see the person that we killed. A reckless, hot-tempered boy who was cocky and scared stiff at the same time. Pony Boy! Yeah, but I didn't look up. I thought it was the doctor. He'd be coming to see me almost every day, although he didn't do much except talk to me. There's a guy here to see you. Says he knows you. Suddenly Adair's voice made me look up, and his eyes were hard. His name's Randy? He had known him, I said. You want to see him? Sure. Why not? A few guys from school dropped by to see me. I have quite a few friends at school, even if I am younger than most of them and I don't talk much. But that's what they are. They're school friends. They're not my buddies. I had been glad to see them, but it bothered me because we live in the same lousy neighborhood and our house isn't real. Because we live in a kind of lousy neighborhood and our house isn't real great. It's round down looking and everything. The inside's kind of poor looking too, even though a bunch of the boys, we do a pretty good job of house cleaning. Most of my friends at school come from good homes, not filthy rich ones like the Soch, but middle class anyway. It was a funny thing. It bugged me about my friends seeing our house, but I couldn't have cared less what Randy thought. Hey, Pony Boy, Randy said, uncomfortable, standing in the door. Hi, Randy. Have a seat if you find one. Books were lying all over the place. He pushed a couple off a chair and he sat down. How you feeling? Chair told me your name was on the school bulletin. Nah, I'm all right. You can't really miss my name on any kind of bulletins, can you? He kind of looked uncomfortable, although he tried to grin. You want to smoke? I offered him weed, but he shook his head. Nah, thanks. Pony Boy, one reason I came here was to see if you were okay, but we gotta go see that judge tomorrow. Yeah, I said, lighting a cigarette. I know. Hey, holler, if you see one of my brothers coming, I'll catch you for smoking in my bed. My dad says for me to tell the truth and nobody could get hurt. He's kind of upset about all this. I mean, my dad's a good guy and everything, better than most, and I kind of let him down being mixed up in all this. I just looked at him. That was the dumbest remark I'd ever heard anyone make. He thought that he was mixed up in this? He didn't kill anyone. He didn't get his head busted in a rumble. And it wasn't his buddy that was shot down under a street light. Besides, what did he have to lose? His old man was rich. He could pay for whatever fine there was for being a punk and picking a fight. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind getting fined, but I feel lousy about my old man. And it's the first time I've ever felt anything in a long time. The only thing I'd ever felt in a long time was being scared. Scared stiff. I'd put off thinking about the judge and the hearing for as long as I could. Soda and Derry didn't like to talk about it either, so we were all silently counting the days until, while I was sick, counting the days that we had left together. But with Randy sticking solidly to the subject, it was impossible to think about anything else. My cigarette started to tremble. I guess your folks kind of feel awful about it, too. Nah, my parents are dead. I live here with just Derry and Soda, my brothers. Took a long drag of my cigarette. That's what's worrying me. If the judge decides Derry isn't a good guardian or something, I'm liable to get stuck in a group home somewhere. That's the rotten part of this deal. Derry's a good guardian. He makes me study, and he knows where I am and who I'm with at all the time. I mean, we don't always get along great, but he keeps me out of trouble. At least he did. My father didn't yell at me nearly as much as Derry does. Oh, I didn't know that. Randy looked worried. He really did. Associate even worried because some kid greaser was on his way to a foster home or something. That really was funny. I don't mean funny, but I think you know what I mean. Listen to me, Pony. You didn't do anything. It wasn't your friend who Johnny had the knife. No, it was me. I had the knife. I'm the one who killed Bob. Randy shook his head. Nah, I saw it. You were almost drowned. It was that black-haired kid with the switchblade. Bob scared him into doing it. I saw it. No, I killed him. I had a switchblade, and I was scared, so thought they were gonna beat me up. Nah, kid, it was your friend, the one who died in the hospital. First off, Johnny's not dead. Johnny is not dead. Hey, Randy, I think you better get going. Derry stuck his head in from the door. Sure thing. He was looking at me kind of funny. I'll see you around, Pony. Don't you ever say anything about Johnny again. I heard Derry say in a low voice as they went out. He's still pretty racked up mentally and emotionally. The doc said he'll get over it, but we have to give him time. I swallowed hard and I blinked. It was just like all the rest of the Soch. He was cold-blooded, mean. Johnny didn't have anything to do with Bob getting killed. Gosh, I did that. Ponyboy Curtis, you pull out that cigarette right now. All right. I ain't going to sleep smoking or anything, Derry. If you make me stay in bed, there ain't anything else I can do but smoke. Not going to die if you don't get a smoke. But if that bed catches fire, you will die. You don't want to make it to the door through that mess. Well, golly, I can't pick it up and Soda doesn't, so I guess that leaves you. He was giving me one of those looks. All right, I said. That don't leave you. Maybe Soda will straighten this place up a little bit. Maybe you could be just a little neater, huh, little buddy? He never called me that before. Soda was the only one who ever called me little buddy. Sure, I said. I'll try to be a little bit more careful. Short chapter, guys. Why do you think he took the blame, though, guys, is what I want to know. Why do you think he's now saying that he killed him? I mean, Johnny's dead, so why does it even matter at this point? Why, at this point, is he trying to say that he's the one who killed Bob when he did not? Something to think about. Take care, guys.